All right, we got Fesi Sitake, passing game coordinator, BYU wide receivers coach. Fes, it's fall camp. You're in, what is it, day 4 or so? You got pads on now.
Practice 5.
Okay, so practice number 5. Where do you stand? How do you feel Camp Kalani 2026 has gone thus far?
Yeah, it's been amazing, man. I would say offensively, we're about probably 90% of our offense has been installed. And the guys are picking up the playbook really well. You know, we have a lot of new pieces all across all positions of guys who are experienced in football at the college level, but maybe not here in this offense. And so to see them start to get really comfortable with this offense, step up, make some plays, has been really nice for us as a staff to see. But the energy is still great. Guys are flying around and great competition.
In the offseason, there's always attrition, there's additions, right? You have a lot of returning talent, but you got some new faces. Biggest concern that BYU fans have is when you lose Chase, you lose Parker, etc. That was almost, 1,500, 2,000 yards of receiving. How do you replace that, and who do you lean into in that regard?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it is a valid concern, first off, for all fans to just kind of, who's going to step up in the room. In our room, though, at a very intimate level, the guys know, they're very aware that who's going to step up, and every year someone has to. This year, more have to step up and prove what they can do when the bullets are live. Because there's guys even out here making plays, and that's the start. But even through the season, it's just what naturally happens because there's no heavy game experience outside of JoJo. Sometimes you still have to give it a couple, 2, 3, 4 games to see who really emerges as an every down guy or maybe even wide receiver 1. And so I love the makeup of the room right now, though, from top to bottom. It's the most skill I think I've ever had in my time here. It's just going to be a matter of experience and putting it all together. So.
In order to get on the field, there has to be some foundational things, requisites in order to garner trust. Trust is everything. People don't realize trust is everything for a coach, right?
Yep.
Like if you don't trust them, then you don't want to put them on the field. What are those foundational elements that they have to showcase in order to actually get on the field and get a target?
That is exactly what we talked about day 1 in my meetings was this trust concept. And I just told them every day you are making deposits of trust. And it's not just like when the bullets are live and you're going team reps. It is when we're doing a drill and I make a coaching point, are you doing it? It's when the run is away from you and this is your backside rule, are you doing it? Every single moment in rep, these guys know, and we're emphasizing that you have an opportunity to earn my trust of your teammates and all the other coaches, and that ultimately what will determine how many reps you're going to be getting. And then with those reps, what do you do with them? That will make or break whether they solidify a spot or whether it's by committee every single week. It's a fun part of the job. Like I said, I know there's questions about it, but I love being challenged in that way to see kind of who emerges and who responds to the challenges I'm issuing.
How much of those foundational elements have determined playing time in the past? Someone that seemingly is more talented speed-wise or length-wise, they didn't see the field and didn't get the targets maybe because they didn't do those foundational elements.
Yeah, that is, I have a lot of reference points of that. And So it's a great message to the guys because it keeps them motivated. Like, oh man, I'm not going with the ones right now, but I can observe, and if someone's not maybe bringing like just competitive edge and like making the key block on a certain play, that's a niche I can go and work my way in, right? That guy's super talented. He's playing a lot, but maybe he's not as dialed in on the nuances of the playbook. And so I know I can. The message is like I want them all to be competitive, ultra competitive with each other, and learn from each other, but also see where there's flaws and try and make up for that. But at the same time, stay unified as a room. And through 5 practices, I think they're all doing a really good job of finding that balance of like competing, fighting for very open spots, but not at the expense of unity and camaraderie.
How many explosive, chunk yardage plays last year in the run game, even in years past, can you attribute to downfield blocking from your wide receivers, getting bodies on bodies, getting hands on, and being in the right position? You talk about that backside responsibility. Sometimes things cut back, things of that nature. Like how much of your run game and those explosives are being attributed to your wide receiver room?
I have a cut up. I don't know the exact number to that, but I have a cut up that I always show to start off of just how critical our blocks are at the 2nd and 3rd level and just the game-changing effect that it can have. And it's funny because Puka's on a lot of those clips. He obviously sticks out as a great playmaking receiver here, but his playmaking went beyond when the ball was targeted at him. And so guys see that, they see where he's at now. It's a great reference for them to be like, oh yeah, it's not just for my team, but this stuff really matters, and good players take pride in that. So I don't do a ton of emphasis in practice on blocking. I just teach effort. I focus on film. It's a hard thing to replicate in individual drills. You just kind of got to coach it off team. So much of his effort, but I love the mentality in our room of taking pride in the run game because we obviously got a great backfield. We're going to run the ball, but they also understand what that can do to the passing game if we execute well in our run game.
How much competition is in your wide receiver room right now? How many different positions are open for competition?
I would say there's about 8 legitimate guys, kind of fighting for. I would say 90% of the reps are going to go amongst like 4 of those guys. And obviously anything changes, but that's just kind of my goal right now. And I can pivot and adjust if attrition happens or injuries or whatever it is. So those guys are aware of that. JoJo's kind of the clear, veteran, knows the playbooks. From there, it's really open, and each guy brings something different to the offense. And so over these next, 15 practices, I got to find out who's going to give us the best chance to move the ball down the field, make plays, and ultimately help us win games.
Let's talk about Kyler, a new addition, very talented, just hasn't been able to stay healthy. What skill set does he bring that can differentiate from the group?
Kyler has obviously clearly first size. He's legitimately all 6'6", but I would say the biggest downfall to being long levered like that is your ability to really just bend at the hips and have some natural explosiveness. Kyler's got the athleticism, the fluidity, and the explosiveness of a slot receiver. So he's really dangerous. He's got really good ball skills. He's physical. It's just a matter of him just kind of staying healthy throughout the course of the season. And if he does, I'd be shocked if he doesn't make a ton of plays for us this year.
Reggie Frishnet, also a long-levered guy that has some good linear speed, came out of Snow, then Weaver, now to BYU, another transfer. What does he bring?
Reggie's kind of on the other side of Kyler, where he's a little bit more just kind of raw. He had some quirky movements. He wasn't your prototypical mover. He's similar to a Cody Haken, where he's productive, but he doesn't have that movement. But man, Reggie, in his off-season training, he's done a ton of stuff here on the field. He's worked with Neil, former player, and has just really polished up the receiver play. He's one of the smartest guys I've ever coached. He doesn't say anything. He just puts his head down and works. He has a motor. He's physical. Reggie will play a lot for us this year.
Legend, a new face, mid-year. Typically, it's very atypical to have a true freshman compete for playing time, let alone be a key cog in your offense. But he's showcased well today. He's continued throughout spring ball. What does he bring?
He's won already just through spring ball and summer, and these first 5 practices. He's going to see the field plenty this year. Obviously, it's too early to make him a bona fide starter, but he's clearly got all the starter material to him. So talented. I haven't seen a freshman come in and just pick up the playbook and make the amount of explosive plays that he's made. And it's not just the deep, run a post behind the safety. It's quick screens and what he does after the catch. It's catching an option route and making a guy miss. He is very dynamic as a receiver. I can't wait to see what he does when the Bullets are live.
And it sounds like he's already built up trust, which is critical for you, obviously, as a foundational element.
And that's why there's multiple true freshmen we have that enrolled at the same time as him, where he's got a little bit of an edge on the rest of them is how quickly he was able to pick up that playbook. He runs it. He honestly understands it like a vet now. And more importantly, when he has a little mistake, because he still is a true freshman, he does not make that again. His retention is unbelievable.
Tay Nakua, everybody knows the Nakua name. He's been intermittent, I think, with his flashes of playmaking ability. Where does he stand?
Excited for him, man. Tay's he's on the right trajectory. He's made the right progress. He's doing things he needs to see the field a lot this year, and I'm confident he will. And it's gonna be nice to see another Nakua out there.
Who else is in that competition in your top 8 that are trying to push those guys that are maybe a little bit more seasoned, have some length, athleticism? Who's pushing the group?
Yeah, I would say another one is Tiger. Tiger's done a great job this offseason in terms of just some of those just tiny marginal gains, physically changing his body, getting a little bit more burst and flexibility. He's trimmed up, he's leaned up, he's faster. I'm really excited for Tiger this year and just the progress he's made. Jaron Pula is another one of those guys who's just a phenomenal athlete, big, strong guy. Injuries have set him back to not be where we wanted him to be, but he's going to be just fine. And I think he'll play a lot for us this year. And then Terrence Sarion's just another one of those guys who's just electric. He's dynamic with the ball in his hands. if he finds himself on the field this fall, he's one of those guys we're gonna have to find ways to get him the ball because he's really good, and I think the team sees that as well. So those are some other names.
How often is Justin Enna trying to coach a wide receiver for his return game? Is that something that is of need, and who could fill that role, do you think, at punt returner?
Yeah, and it's no poaching because I will gladly give on that. I think that's just an overlooked part of the game. You got to have that. When I was at Weber, the first that comes to mind, Rashid Shaheed was a four-time All-American there and super dynamic returner. That's what got him into the NFL was his return ability, and now he's turned into a starting receiver. So legend in terms of kick returner at receivers, legend's kind of probably the one guy right now. Evan Johnson is another one who's just super dynamic player, even though he's on the other side. Like those are the kind of guys on kick return who you want to get back there because we got a lot of willing and able, tough guys who will create some seams to make the big return. At punt returner, number one is secure the catch, right? You want the guy who can secure and is dynamic after, but you can't mess around. If someone's a little flip flop on the catch, but they're amazing, after you got to go with the guy who secures it. And so, Legend, Tiger, Cannon DeVries, Preston Rex are all guys, and Evan Johnson are all guys who are taking punt returns right now. Too early to name any starters, but they're all doing a good job, and they're all capable guys back there.
Many have prognosticated that Roger Saliapaga is an extension of the wide receiver room, almost a Neil Pau'u-esque type of player. What do you see in Roger from that flex tight end spot?
He's phenomenal, man. I mean, we were doing stuff with him that we used to only do with wideouts, and just it's a credit to just how athletic he is, man. And he knows it. The thing about him, he's a dog too. He's physical. Sometimes you get those flex tight ends and they're one-trick ponies. Like he will want to take your head off. He plays with tenacity. So I'm super excited for what he's going to do for us this fall.